Okay, so I pre-logged in because you didn't need to see us uh, doing your login. But when you go to app.fabric.microsoft.com, you'll be asked to log in with your um, Microsoft 365 account. The first thing you'll be greeted with now, if you have played with this, this has changed. Okay, we used to have personas down here in the bottom left-hand corner. We now just have the single fabric. This used to be where we could choose what type of persona we were in, and you could choose whether it was data engineering, Power BI, data science, etc. All right, and that's now gone away. It's all just available to us inside of the Fabric app. Now, from an administration point of view, what do we want to know about here? Well, we've got this little cog up here to the right. This is where we're able to see those settings. Now, leading into the demo, I had a couple of screenshots, which was just basically breaking down these settings, right? So our preferences, our resources and extensions, and our governance and insights. This is where it makes it nice and easy for us to be able to go to and set those. If we have a quick look just at our general settings across the board, very simple as to what we're wanting to do. We've got our notifications, we've got our item settings, etc. However, what we are able to do, and they align with these four bullet points that we've got, but we can also choose and set settings at workspace levels. Okay. Before we get to that, how we get to the admin portal, so we come down here, we get our admin portal, and it gives us the list of all of these settings. Okay. And so from the slide you will have seen, I had some of these already in. Now, our tenant settings, when I mentioned this is the first thing that we need to be aware of, and it needs to be enabled for us to be able to use Fabric. Okay. Now, I'm not expecting you to be able to read all of these. Okay. So you can see some of these. I'm going to quickly scroll just to give you an idea as to how many settings you've got available to you. Okay. That was pretty quick, but you can see just how many settings are available. Now, we're not going to be going through all of those. You will want to spend some time. The big one that I want to call out, so users can create Fabric items. If we expand this, what you need to be aware of inside of the admin, you may just want to be using Power BI, and that's fine. Okay. Power BI on its own is a feature set that you can use. It is also part of Fabric. However, it's an opt-in or opt-out. So by enabling this means that I just want to use Power BI. I don't want to use any of the other Fabric features or components. Okay, so you need to be aware of that on what you're needing to do in your organization. Once we've got our tenant settings enabled and we're in here, we mentioned about capacity. Well, when we come to the capacity settings, this is just giving us information about what capacities we've got already configured. Okay, so we're able to buy our licensing, which for any of these, if I hit the purchase, this will take us off. I've already logged in, but it'll take us into our 365 admin, and we're then able to go and buy the appropriate licensing that we need. Okay, so we can't do it here inside of Fabric, but it will take us to where we need to. Trial. This is a big thing. You'll see I'm running under a trial. Okay. What that trial is, you can sign up and get 60 odd days of using this without having to pay. And this makes it nice and easy for me without costing me money to be able to look in and work with Fabric and do these presentations. From a Fabric capacity point of view, once again, we go purchase, and that brings us into a normal resource inside of our Azure tenancy. This looks all familiar. We're just creating a resource. We choose what our resource group is. Now, what I really wanted to show you is our capacities. Now, as I said, we start at CU2, approximately $393. This is in Aussie dollars. Down to, if you go to an F2048, right, that's estimating 400 grand a month for an F2048. Now, that's if we were using it all of the time, but that's really expensive. F64 being your tipping point, as I mentioned, even that 12 and a half grand a month if you were using that capacity across the board for running 100% of the time a month. So this can rack up really, really, really quickly. And you as an administrator are going to want to know about what capacity units you are using. And this is why it makes it simple for you to be able to scale up, scale down, and even pause that capacity. So it's only being used when you need it to be used so that you're not racking up that kind of cost. So once we've got our capacity in play, we spoke about we need to have domains. Now, domains, as we mentioned, they are just logical groupings and very simple to set up. We come in, we go domains, go start from scratch, we give it a domain name. Okay. And then we're able to invite or set who are the admins for those domains. Okay. Nice and simple. Once we're done there, we've then got our workspaces. Now, our workspaces, this just shows us what workspaces we've got, what access we've got to those, etc. It doesn't give us a lot of information here. But to access our workspaces, we've got over on the left-hand side here in our menu bar, we've got our workspaces that we're able to see what our workspaces are. If we come to that workspace, we can then see what items. Once we're in the workspace, we've got more settings that we can use. So we've got our manage access. Who do we want to have? So I'm an admin, but I can then go and add additional people who have access to this workspace. We've then got various workspace settings. And this is where we really want to dive into it, right? So we're not going to worry about licensing information, but our Azure connections. Where are we connecting? What are we needing to do? And this is where we're going and setting up and connecting to our various ADLS2 storage locations. If we've got log analytics, well, how are we connected? And so that's from that logging point of view. So we know what is going on in our environment and it's going off to our log analytics. And that's where you'll need to know about not just SQL, right? But you'll want to have KQL skills to be able to run your statements against your log analytics workspace to see what's going on in the environment. Okay. What is our system storage? Our Git integration. Now, I mentioned that this has evolved. Initially, we only had GitHub. We've now got 2 connectors that we can choose from. Once again, to enable this, that's an admin setting, and it does take a little bit of time to enable it and say, right, we've now got this second provider that we've got available to us. From our workspace identity, this is where we would probably want to go and create that identity to lock things down from that security point of view, which we'll have a look at shortly. From our monitoring point of view, we can go and create an event house to be able to see what's going on in the environment to assist with understanding that utilization, the performance, who's doing what, so that we are able to dive in and have a look. Our various Power BI configurations, even from what our Spark settings. Now, Spark settings, this is where we're able to configure what type of workflows we're using, okay? Because you're probably going to be using Spark to process that data and get that high volume throughput through. If you are looking at Spark point of view, make sure you look at koalas over pandas, okay? Because pandas don't scale. And then we've got our data factory configurations that we can do with our Apache Airflow runtime settings. Creating items, very simple. We just get to choose what we've got. And as you can see, a large number of items that people can go and create that you've given the permissions to be able to go and access. Looking at that, we can see here I've got a lake house that I've created. This is for another session that I do. Um, we've got our semantic model, and we've got a couple of work notebooks that we're able to use to go and run things against that data which I've got stored in my lake house. From a monitoring point of view, we'll see more about it later. But what we want to have a look at is if we have a look at our workspaces, you can see I've got a number of workspaces here. And if I wanted to create a new one, all well and good. But we've got this one called admin monitoring. Now, admin monitoring is a pre-canned monitoring workspace that you need to enable. Once you enable, it will take a little bit of time to go and set up and refresh and pull data about your environment. You can only have one. You only have read access to this. It comes default with features and usage adoption, both your report, your semantic model, and your purview hub for your report and the semantic model. Knowing about the semantic model is very important. So you can share who has access to the admin monitoring. By default, you need to be an administrator to be able to access this, but you're able to manage the access up here and say, who do I want to add or share this with? And the reason why you might want to do that is for the semantic model, you want to create your own dashboards and reports on top of that semantic model, specific to what you want to know about in your environment. And the reason why you might want to do that, as I said, this is read only. And if we have a look at that, this report, it loads up and goes, here's our dashboard that shows us what's going on. What are the activities? How's it being used? Who's using what? And you're able to then dive in to see what's going on in that environment. Okay. We've got our analysis that allows us to drop down further, as well as what type of inventory are we being used. Okay. We can't change this, but this is a great starting place to be able to access it. Okay. And that's why I was saying that, if you've got the ability, if you're better at Power BI than me, then you can create those dashboards and reports on top of this semantic model to get what you want. Now, we spoke about purview, and this is just a quick jump into it to show you I haven't set anything up. I haven't set up any sensitivity labels, endorsements, and we haven't scanned any of our workloads. Okay. But this gives you that high level as to what is going on in that. If we were to come back to our settings, we can then jump to our purview hub, which gives us the ability. This is where we want to jump in and we're able to undertake what we want to do in configuring that data governance, right? So we want to scan our pipelines, our semantic models, or not just the semantic models, but any of that data for sensitive data to be able to go, right, I need to put these sensitivity labels on so that we're able to then track and assign appropriately. Our endorsements, this is where it comes down to those reports on being able to endorse a report. And what that means is you've got two, you've got endorsements and you've got certifications. And that means that the report, for example, has been reviewed and certified by an appropriate person in your organization to say this is valid, the data is correct, that you can use this. And it makes it easy for your end users to identify these reports. I can use this and I don't need to worry about it. And it'll have a little badge. But this is where you go and do that, as well as doing your scanning to assist with setting up those sensitivity labels. So in a nutshell, that is our access inside of Fabric.